How you doing?
Hey man, how are you? I'm grand here.
Oh, well, it's very strange hearing your voice, either not in an announcement or YouTube. I will say, very strange.
How's it all going, by the way, the YouTube stuff?
Honestly, incredible.
Yeah, congrats with the 1,000, by the way. Brilliant.
I know, thank you. It's crazy, and it took me 9 months, 10 months or something to get 300 subs, and now in just a month I'm on 1,260. So,
dude, this is it. This is how it happens, man. It took me 2 years to hit 1,000, and then when I hit 1,000, I think it was maybe I can't remember. It's on my YouTube. I wrote it in the About You section, but it's something like 2 years to hit 1,000, and then it was like 3 months or something like that to hit 10,000.
Christ.
Crazy. Yeah, that's how it is. It just snowballs like that. So I think you're going to be laughing pretty soon.
Yeah.
Past 1,000. The worst part is done. So keep going, man.
It's like a funnel effect. If you stay consistent, and imagine it goes and goes and goes faster. So that's the hope. That's the hope.
Yep. You should start popping up on like kind of recommended feeds now that you're over 1,000. So.
Oh yeah. I can't wait until I start seeing the thing that keeps me going with it, and the thing that keeps me consistent is the fact that comments constantly are just saying like, looking forward to the next upload, and like, thank you for keeping consistent, and all that keeps me going a lot.
It's brilliant, isn't it? So
it's fantastic.
It's just like mainstream or like mainlining like positivity.
Oh yeah.
When you get comments like that, it just feels great.
Yeah, especially when they completely overshadow the bad ones, and when you get the occasional bad one, the rest of your viewers just dive in on that one person, and it's like, Christ.
Yeah. You get your own kind of like little like fandom that protect you against everything. It's great.
It's like attack dogs.
But dude, those like negative comments. I mean, I used to get those too. Like just like sometimes I'd just be like, I don't like you. And it's like, well, why did you come to my YouTube to just that mean?
That's what I was gonna say. It's like, I don't like you. Well, just don't watch my videos then. Move on.
Exactly. It's like, it's so strange. I don't understand how someone could have so much negativity in their life that they need to like go to the video page, go to the comment section, type up the comment. Do you know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
Let it loose. It just seems so strange. If you don't like something, move on.
Absolutely. For a solid 8 months. Honestly, I had this one guy, and I never figured out who it was, but I had this one guy who within the first 5 seconds of an upload would dislike the video for 8 months. How can you have that much time on your hands?
Why does he bother like following you around just to give you a 1 thumbs down? Or I don't get it. I don't know. Get it. It's crazy shit.
Christ.
But anyway, I'm happy for you. I think it's going to go great.
I really appreciate that.
So okay, man. I'll take your lead on this anyway.
Yeah, sounds good. So I just wanted to say like, cheers for agreeing to this. It means a lot to me as well as like everyone who watches my videos, because obviously everyone knows who you are. They go all through the Reddit. Most people are in the Discord anyway, so they know who you are. So they're like getting these questions from you and these answers to these things we want to know is important, which is why I decided to go to them for a lot of the questions.
Oh, that's great, and that's like an extra layer of goodness to it. That's brilliant.
Yeah, I'd say there's a couple from me in here, but a lot of them are either from the modder private chat, or some of them are also from my community as well.
Cool. Okay, brilliant.
So the first one I'd say is just in general, how's life going with stuff? How's things at Warpfrog? How are you enjoying, in general, just how everything's going with Blade and Sorcery and the community and Warpfrog as a company?
Well, brilliant. It's going better than ever, I would say. So since I started full time at Warpfrog, it's been a dream for me. It really, really has. I don't think I've ever had a situation in my entire life where I worked at a job and felt like I could enjoy it. Do you know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Like, I did not think that was a thing that could happen. And you always hear people talking about like, find something you love and then do that. It's like, yeah, that sounds great and all, but I just didn't think it was real. But I actually genuinely love what I do every day. So personally, going brilliant. For Warpfrog, the company, also going brilliant. So obviously with Nomad, that was really great. U10, that was really great. So we're getting really brilliant feedback, from people. who are just in general enjoying the game at the moment. So I'd say it's kind of at an all-time high right now. So we're really loving that, and thanks to like the success of Nomad and stuff, we've been able to like expand the team. So we're still doing that. The team is way bigger, than the old days. I think it's something like I think 18 people or something like that. But it's a little bit misleading because it's not like 18 full-timers. It's a lot of those people are part-time. Some of them are super part-time, as in like only a couple hours a week. And then there's other people like like there's a concept artist, but he only works kind of per job and stuff like that. So 18 is a little bit misleading, but still there's like a lot of people involved now.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, but it's going brilliant anyway. So we're really riding high right now.
Yeah, that's fantastic. It's great to see how much the community blew up when U10 came out, and then that just doubled up when Nomad blew up as well.
Yeah,
it's incredible.
Yeah, that was hilarious for us. We hoped exactly that. We hoped that we wanted to release U10 before we even spoke a word about Nomad. That was the first thing, because we really wanted to make sure that PC VR players knew, like, hey, the plan has not changed here. PC is still the leader. The development roadmap hasn't changed, and we want to make sure that everyone's enjoying U10 first. Yeah. Then, if that's looking good, then we can do the Nomad thing. And we also thought it'd be hilarious to have it announced and then like immediately drop the update, on top of it. So that was a lot of fun for us.
Well, absolutely the right way to do it as well, because if you announce Nomad as well as U10 not coming, like as U10 coming up as well, it would have probably dropped a lot of the hype for U10, as Nomad is like the kind of the bigger announcement because it's something no one ever expected, whereas U10 was obviously planned. Nomad, no one really knew was coming, so that would have just overshadowed U10, unfortunately, for a lot of people. So definitely the best way you could have done it.
Awesome. I'm really glad to hear you say that, and you're also not the first person to say that to me. But I'm really glad to hear you say it, because that was what myself and Cosby planned exactly. Was we didn't want to, take the air out of the hype in U10, which was a huge, crazy big update, and we, everyone's excited, including us. We're really excited for it. So we wanted to make sure that everyone was still hyped for that, and then afterwards, like completely separate from PC VR players, the Quest players can be hyped because now there's Nomad coming, Yeah. So I'm glad that worked out the way it did.
Yeah, it's fantastic, especially just the perfect timing of how when people started to slowly, like they got into U10 and they started to settle in, and then bang, Nomad, and you're like, shit, okay, dropping something else on us.
Yeah. That's exactly. I'm so glad. That's brilliant.
Yeah, it's fantastic.
Exactly as I hope.
Yeah, so I was wondering, how does it feel? So when you first got involved with Warpfrog, obviously it was pretty much just Cosby and a couple of artists, right, as far as I'm aware, and those artists were very lightly involved.
No, not
really.
Even. Not even. Yeah. I mean, back in the oldest days, it was just me and Cosby, and then he had a friend who, like in real life, who was he's like a Blender teacher, I believe it is, and he was able to do some of the weapons, or actually, sorry, I think even all the weapons. I'm not too sure about that, but he did some weapons and stuff for the game, like some of the original assets. However, most of the assets in the game were store assets. Like, do you remember those old U7 models? Everyone used to always say it was like PS2 graphics.
Yeah, like the original dagger and.
Yeah, so and the runes and that kind of, the arena, those were like store assets. So that was one of the things we wanted to move away from. But yeah, besides Cosby's friend, I mean, it was just Cosby doing all the coding, literally everything, and then just me on the community side. And then it was around U5 was when the first kind of new person came into it, and that was another dev who. Had like, forgive me, I don't know exactly the tech side of things, but it was like he was involved with the dismemberment system and the way the characters worked. So that was like awesome. And then it was really U8. That's when people start to arrive. That's when we got like artists and modelers, and we redid all the graphics, if you remember that.
Yeah, absolutely.
And it was just this crazy, basically just redoing the whole game, and of course that's kind of what led to the problems of U8. Like, do you remember the launch?
Christ,
yeah. Because basically like the game was just rebuilt from scratch to drop all the the store assets.
I remember
So-
they completely dropped the character creation, or part of it, because they had to redo it because they had completely new characters
Yeah,
and assets for that.
Exactly. Yeah.
So-
exactly.
I remember the game was running on, I mean, you just couldn't play Citadel, it was unplayable, and a lot of the maps would run at like 20 FPS for a long time until
Wait,
8.3 or 4, no, I think it was
4,
8.4.
yeah, 8.4.
8.4 was when it started to get a lot better, and I actually sacrificed my mods then because I wanted to play the game at a higher frame rate than, you know, PlayStation 2.
Totally. So basically, what was happening pre 8.4, what was happening was the character system was all rebuilt, or sorry, like the new stuff was based out of the game, all the new graphics and stuff like that. And basically, there was problems with the character system, and it was a real problem because it was like when an enemy would spawn, you would get this big, dirty lag spike. And basically, at the end of the day, after like a lot of research, it just came to the conclusion that there's no way we can avoid this. Like literally, the technology is not going to help us avoid this. So it was kind of like, well, you know, we literally can't live with this because it's not acceptable. So it's kind of like, well, we'd have to redo the whole character system, again. And that's what led to that big 6-month 8.4 beta. But hey, it paid off so hugely. I mean,
absolutely.
That led into what is now Dungeons and so forth. It wouldn't have been possible without that character redo. So
yeah, I mean, sometimes you got to go backwards to go forwards, and
exactly. For the future, it was worth doing. It was a nightmare, but it was worth doing. Put it that way.
Yeah, I mean, it was worth. The player base dropped down quite a lot for a while because of the issues there, but then after that, once they got fixed, and especially after U9, U10, it just soared past anything I'd ever seen with this community. I mean,
exactly.
I'd never seen the community so huge.
Yeah, it was when 8.4 dropped, I was so relieved, to see all the positive, because I felt like it was good myself, but it's like, it's one of those things you just don't know until, the masses kind of have it. And so when everyone was like loving that, I just felt so relieved. And then when U9 came out, which was essentially just 8.4, that went down really well, and that was like awesome. And then further improvements kept going for U10, and then U10 dropped, and people are enjoying that performance too. So it's been really, really great so far.
Yeah, I was just like, especially looking at the when the U10 hype chat was on, when the amount of timers and delays we had to put on that. I saw. I was speaking to Soviet, who's a community helper. So he was just monitoring it the whole time, and he was just telling me how absolutely, he was saying it in the modder chat, how just unbearable it is to try and moderate that, because it was just flowing full of things. And that's when actually when the trailer dropped, when someone randomly grabbed a screenshot of the chicken and pasted Jonathan over the top, and that just became
Is that it? Okay, I didn't even know that myself. I didn't know the origin.
So in the hype chat, out of nowhere, for absolutely no reason, someone just thought it'd be great to take a screenshot of the chicken, type a random name and post it in the chat, and someone saw it and copied it, and it got pasted everywhere, and that's how Jonathan came about. And
that's hilarious, because it really did get everywhere, Yeah.
Oh yeah, no, like people are asking for like NPCs to reference Jonathan in the same room in the dungeons and stuff now, and they want like proper lore. It's amazing.
It literally like influenced the development. Like we added things to do with the chicken.
I know, this update that's just come out. There's you've added handles to the chicken and stuff now, so you can like pet it better and stuff. It's really funny.
Yeah.
I love
Do you know the little chicken Easter egg?
Ooh,
I've seen it. You probably do, because I've seen people talking about it on Reddit and stuff. Do you want me to spoil it?
Go ahead, because I might not.
So a spoiler for anyone who doesn't know, but I've seen people talking about it, so I think it's pretty common knowledge now. So if you go through the dungeon, and if you find a chicken, if you pick him up and carry him to the end, carry him to the boat, he'll spawn as your pet in the home. Ah,
yes. I actually found this out by accident, because Talion's spawner spell, his NPC spawner spell mod, I did a demo for him, like a short little demo for his page, that showed how to change the NPC it spawned, and I turned it to a chicken, spawned it in my home, finished the video, edited it, put it up, went back into BaS and realised there was dead chickens spawning in my house, and I was like, why is this happening? Doesn't normally do that. So then I realised that obviously the chicken saves in the house, whereas everything else doesn't.
Right,
so that's really cool.
Well, that's the official way you're supposed to get. I mean, I guess it would make more sense with progression mode, because you couldn't like cheat. But we have some more plans as well, some secret plans. But
very much looking forward to that.
Yeah.
I mean, I've seen that. I mean, obviously we have some incredibly talented modders who are already looking into the creatures. I mean, I don't know if you've seen some of Lineker's progress, but he's actually got a small little drake dragon thing that is now flying around and following where he moves a marker. Already.
No, I didn't see that actually. No.
So he's got a tiny little animated dragon. I don't know it looks tiny on the Unity. I don't know whether he's incredibly zoomed out, but it could just be a little drake or a giant dragon. But he basically moves a marker around, and it pathfinds itself by flying to the marker.
Brilliant. I did not know that. In fact, I was waiting patiently to see like kind of what modder would break the kind of creatures first, you know, like by making because basically there's no documentation for it. So the modders are completely blind right now, for making creatures.
Now, whether Lineker has actually figured out anything but how to make it move and animate, I don't know, because as incredibly talented as Lineker is, and being by far one of the best technical modders in the whole community, with absolutely no documentation, it's gonna be next to impossible for to do it in this time, at least.
I mean, that's the thing. I would never underestimate the modders though, because there's no stopping those guys. They do the impossible. You know what I mean?
Oh,
so I'm not too surprised to hear that someone has cracked it. But I'll check that out. Even after this call, I'll have to check that out.
Sounds good. I think I'll try and find you the Discord message link. I think it's in his Discord, so I'll try and grab it.
Oh, brilliant. Okay, I'm in there. Yeah.
I'll have a look.
Brilliant.
So the next question people asked is, did you see the game becoming as popular as it is now when you first got involved with the game?
Yes. And I say that absolutely hand on heart. It was when I first played it, I knew it immediately. I knew there was something special. I think I knew there was something special in it faster than Cosby saw there was something special in it. Like I knew immediately it was going to be huge. Because at the time when I stumbled across it, I was doing YouTube videos.
Yeah.
And I was a full-time YouTuber, and I was a small YouTuber, smaller than you are now, in fact.
Oh wow.
And basically, you probably have this experience. When you're a small YouTuber, bigger publishing companies generally don't send you like review keys, because they want PewDiePie or something. They want like millions.
Oh yeah,
millions.
yeah.
So when you're a small YouTuber, you're kind of just taking whatever you can. So my little niche that I carved out was I would review lesser known indie games, and I was always on the hunt for like indie gems. So I was already kind of in that like not mainstream mind frame, like looking for like alternative kind of VR games.
Yeah.
That were cool, And man, when I came across that one, it was just straight away, I just knew something was up. The first thing was the mirror. I saw myself in the mirror and I was like, whoa, full body. That's unique. I was like, that's cool. Then I was messed with the weapons. I was like, holy, like these actually like clang together, like they collide. That's like, and then remember, this was 2018, so there was no such thing as Boneworks. There was no such thing as Hellsplit. Like nothing had existed. So I was like, whoa, this is insanely fine hitboxes on this. This is great. And then the one that just completely won me over was I went into the little arena. First, naked gladiator guy comes running out and stabbed him right through the torso. And it's so hard to describe unless you play it, isn't it? But that kind of like almost tactile sensation you get when you stab, like it feels like it's just something there.
Yeah, it's very it's incredibly immersive for a sandbox game. And I will say
whatever you call it anyway, it was just like that's what jumped at me. I was like, what the like just blew me away. I was like, there's literally nothing like this in VR. Literally, as in no one has ever done this. And then it was like at the same time that Blade and Sorcery was being developed, Boneworks was also being developed. However, it was a year later before Boneworks not a year later, it was a couple of months later before Boneworks ever like emerged and announced himself. So
Yeah.
So to me, as far as I was concerned, 2018, there's literally no other developer doing this. And man, I ran to Discord as fast as I could, messaged Cosby. I was just like, mate, like, you've got something. This is something. And I had done a lot of work with other indie developers up to that point, and the biggest thing I found was that because they don't have the marketing, they all tend to just kind of like launch out the gate and tank. And I didn't want to see that happen to this game, because I was like, this is way too special. And I literally begged Cosby, I was like, let me promote this. I was like, let me post on Reddit, let me post on YouTube, let me just... And he's kind of the kind of realm of like, he's a humble kind of dude, and he doesn't really kind of like, you know, toot his own horn about things, you know. So it was kind of good, because he kind of needed a hype man, you know what I mean? He needed someone to be like, dude, look, like, you're not crazy, this is great. And they took about, God, I think it was like 3 or 4 months before I convinced them to let me post anything about it. And then I remember posting it on Reddit, and coming back to the post later and just seeing, I think it was something like 500 messages in my inbox. And I was just like, oh my God. And it was like, that was the most vindicating thing, because it was like, I felt like it was special, and now there's so much positivity coming from Reddit about it that I'm not crazy. This is something special.
Yeah.
And the rest is history. You know what I mean? That's kind of when I start getting into the community, and the game start to grow from there.
Yeah, it's insane how, you know, even someone who's making the game can't see what everyone else sees. And especially with Cosby, I've noticed he's only ever in the Discord or ever active when an update comes out, when he really has to be. Otherwise, he's heads down, quiet, focus, get on. Yeah. Which is great to see. Yeah. But I think people sometimes get the wrong impression, like he doesn't want to engage. And I think what people don't realise is that it's not that he doesn't want to engage, he's just so invested in what he's doing that he has other people to do that for him.
Yeah, don't get me wrong, he reads everything. Like, he's always on Reddit, he reads everything. But he's he's very much a private guy. And that's just how he is. He's just super private. He doesn't like his real life to be put out there. And then the other part of him is he's a very humble guy. So, of course, he loves hearing about people enjoying the game. And he loves, you know, positive reviews and stuff like that, of course. But you know, he doesn't go out of his way to seek it. Do you know what I mean? He just kind of like he just wants to make the game. You know, that's it for him. That's the reward for him. And so yeah, it is what it is. And then of course the other aspect of it then too is, I mean, even me, the amount of DMs I get and stuff is crazy. Yeah. So you know, he's actively working as well, you know, on the game. So that's the other thing, is he just doesn't really have the time to kind of invest on social media that I would have, you know.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
So it's we're a little bit like yin and yang, you know, in that way. So that's cool too. Yeah, I can take care of that stuff for him, you know.
Well, that's the best way to have it, is like people with different traits combine, and you get the kind of perfect process of between work and promotion. It's just you know, he pumps out the work, you pump out the promotion, and that way you can both focus on your end, and it just goes even faster. It's just great.
I think that's a big part of the key to success too for Blades and Sorcery was, you know, having a community manager, I think, is really important. And my own personal opinion is, I generally don't think developers should be their own community managers. And the reason is because I think a developer is too biased to be their own community manager. So a good community manager should be basically like the link between the community and the developer. Yeah. And transmitting information between the two. Absolutely. But the reason I don't think a developer is good at that is because it's almost too personal, I think, or something. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Like yeah, like...
There's a fantastic example. And if you remember Battlefield 5 or 1, I can't remember which one that was. But when that released, and there was a female on the front of the cover or something like that, or in the trailer, and everyone was saying there wasn't women in this war, don't tell us. I remember that. And then he was trying to say it's historically accurate, and people were saying, don't tell us historically accurate, we don't mind, but don't tell us it's historically accurate, whatever. and he said, sorry, if you don't like our game, don't buy it. And it's like, developers definitely shouldn't take that to heart from people, you know?
Exactly. And it's like, I get it, because it's like, you know, the internet can be tough and it can be toxic at times, and especially when it's like, it's your little baby. Like, when you hear things, you might just end up, like any normal human being, you might end up just saying the wrong thing because you're mad. But the thing is, that doesn't go away then. Like, that's there forever. And you might not have even meant it as bad as it sounded, but it's there forever. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
It's like, and then it just like completely just, I don't know, I just feel like at times, like I see that happen with like other developers, especially in VR, because like most people can't have a CM. So like I see developers getting like hot-headed with fans and stuff, and it's like I get it, but I mean that's why like a good CM would be great there, because it's a little bit more impersonal, and you know, with problems and stuff like that, and it's just easier to be just to translate the kind of, here's the sentiment of how the community is feeling, as opposed to this one jerk gave a bunch of abuse. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
It's kind of more like, hey, as a whole, the community are upset about performance, or hey, as a whole, this update down went really well, or hey, the community really like this chicken. You know, like we should do something about that. You know, like that kind of thing.
Oh yeah.
And you know something else too is just another quick thing on that is that something I hate to see is when a community manager is like a watchdog for a developer. That's, I think, a big failure too, because I don't think the community manager, you know, they shouldn't be a pit bull to protect the developer from everything. They should just be the messenger.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Or, you know, you see that on Steam sometimes. You know, you go on Steam forums and like someone has a very valid criticism, and instead of a community manager being like, oh hey, like that completely sucks, here's what we're doing, or here's why we think different, instead the CM is like just basically attacking that person. You know, it's just like, you know, like, yeah, that's not good either. But of course, I digress.
I remember the community managers with Ark Survival Evolved at Wildcard. Christ, they went through quite a few of them, because
really,
Ark was released in early access like Blade and Sorcery, but it's always been known as an incredibly unfinished, buggy game. And rather than fixing bugs, which obviously they were fixing bugs, but rather than fixing them as much, they were focusing on just more and more content, and it was the wrong thing to do, because it just broke the game more and more. So people started to get very angry on Twitter because they kept delaying updates and just not talking to them, and rather than saying anything, the community managers would just not reply to these complaints and promote the next update. And it's like, you can't have that disconnect. It really hurt the game and the company badly, and
there you go.
It's very painful.
So there you go. It's almost like that the sentiment of the community wasn't translated to the developers.
Yeah.
So their priorities are. You know, that's funny. I didn't know that story, but I also had that same experience with Ark. I used to play it. I think it's one of my highest hour games, actually.
It's everyone's highest hour game if you've played it. If you've played Ark, it's by far one of your highest hour games.
I remember those bugs, man, in the first versions. They were big bugs too. They were like, you're walking, you just fall through the map.
Oh,
and
that's
like all your items getting just lost in the void. Like, yeah, they were big bugs.
Well, there's people who take advantage of these things. I remember there was one where people used to, so there was a thing called meshing, which is now bannable, obviously. They tried to do everything they can to fix it, but essentially people would get under the map and just take like 50 players with rocket launchers and explosives, go under the map underneath a massive 70-man tribe's base and blow it all up from underneath the map and just take it over. And that was like 3 years worth of work. Yeah, there's a lot of work, and it's all gone, and the devs have had to deal with that for years now, because the maps aren't built very well and the physics aren't done very well. So unfortunately they're in a thing of, every time they add a new feature, that is probably a new way to get in under the map and cause problems. So
that's hilarious. I did not know that one. That's so funny though.
Oh, it's awful. It's awful. That's why I stopped playing the game. But another thing I was gonna ask is, what's your favorite weapon in the game? Your personal favorite vanilla weapon?
Favorite vanilla weapon? I like the I think most of my YouTube fans know that my favorite weapon, my old beloved, was the falchion, which was removed from the game. I used to love that one.
What version was that in? I never actually saw that.
Yeah, it was in U7, I think, and then
U7. I don't remember.
I think it got taken out in U7, and then by U8 it was completely gone. So, I think that was it.
So it's not available if you went back to U7 now.
I don't think so. I could be wrong about that, but I don't think so.
I thought not.
But yeah, I love that one. That was my favorite. But in the vanilla weapons now, I'd say my favorite is probably the smaller antique sword. I love that one. I like the long sword for the versatility of it. And I actually kind of like the short sword too, actually. I know it's just simple, but I just kind of like it.
No, I agree. I think they're all fantastic. I'm actually a massive fan of the new war sword. I think it's just very nicely modelled. It's just
brilliant.
Beautiful. But
yeah, the only one I could never get behind was the Bardiche.
You see,
I think it's because I just don't know how to use it well. I could never get behind the Bardiche.
I think that's a love or hate weapon because it's such a unique weapon. I found if you hold the handle up at the top of the head that it's pretty good. But if you try to use it like the Northern Axe, it gets stuck constantly. It's not designed to work that way.
Yeah, honestly, it's my bad. I never gave it the time I think it deserved. And so I think that's probably my least used weapon. And the other one too is the two-sided spear. I don't know why. I just never used that. I
don't think many people use the dual-sided staff. I don't
know why though.
It's just a tough weapon to get used to.
It is, yeah.
You always forget you've got the other end and just end up using it as a spear.
True, yeah. It's a bit of a specialised weapon, I guess. Yeah.
So, something I was thinking is, are there any smaller activities in Blade and Sorcery that you'd like to see in the game? For example, things like hunting, fishing, weapon crafting, any kind of little side games that would contribute to progression, or those kind of systems that would implement into maybe some kind of slightly survival mode things for progression and so on.
Well, it's funny you should say that. We are none set in stone, but we kind of have some ideas that might tickle your fancy. But I shall say nothing about it because we're not committed to anything. So you know how we are. We don't like to reveal everything, but have some stuff you might find interesting.
You have just got my comment section fucked. I hope you understand that. Everyone's going to be saying, why did he say that?
Yeah.
No.
Well, it's two reasons. I mean, one is that just that's the way we are. We just generally don't like to make promises unless we're positive.
Oh, no, absolutely, yeah.
Yeah, and then also we just like the surprise factor. That's the other.
Oh, that's the best way to do it. I mean, everyone who is watching right now, just understand that if Baron did tell us that we were getting this and that, then you'd want to know more. And also, if it didn't happen, you'd get angry. So let's just leave it there and let's see what happens. Because sounds like good news anyway.
Yeah, exactly.
So, what's the most anticipated feature currently known to be in development that we also know about? So you don't have to tell us anything we don't know about yet. What do you think?
I think it's hands down. I think it's progression mode. I think that everyone wants, and it'll be nice when that comes out because that might finally put the rest. It's kind of like there's kind of two kinds of people. Just kind of like gamers who can just jump into something and just kind of have fun and just mess around. They don't mind so the sandbox is good for them. They just enjoy it, make their own fun, brilliant. But then there's another kind of gamer who just don't really buy into that, and they prefer kind of more structured, like this is a game and I'm playing a level and I'm getting through it and I'm progressing. You know what I mean? So that's the other type. So for the longest time, basically, those the latter kind of gamer doesn't really feel satisfied with sandbox. So with progression mode, this is exactly for them. So it's going to be like there's going to be like a purpose to dungeons. There'll be skill unlocks. That's pretty crazy. A shop where you can purchase items and armors and stuff like that. There's going to be loot, although we haven't fully decided yet exactly what form that'll be. For example, we haven't fully thought out if you'd be looting stuff literally from dungeons, or you'd be looting stuff from enemies, or that can, and in what form? You know, would it be like little golden chalices? Is it literally coins? I don't really know exactly what this is going to be. So that's something we're still kind of planning out. But essentially, the structure of it is that you'll get some kind of loot. You'll be able to like purchase new equipments and armors.
Yeah, that sounds fantastic.
Yeah, that's I think the biggest hype.
Yeah, I think one question I actually have about progression mode, and if this isn't decided upon yet, then absolutely just say that. But do you think does progression mode at the moment, in theory, will it have an end, or is it going to be like an RPG is just progressive as you keep going and keep gaining power?
It will almost certainly have an end because there is a definitive cap on the skill tree.
Cool.
So we didn't want to do skills like that's just something I hate, especially in like RPGs. You know, when you like unlock a skill, you're grinding for ages, you unlock a skill, and then the skill is, plus 5%. Agility or something. It's just like it's grand, but it's just like it's so gamey and it's so like number crunchy. You know what I mean?
Yeah. It reminds me of going back and playing World of Warcraft, and you grind out.
Oh, perfect example.
You grind out like 3 months worth of raids to get one piece of gear that slightly improves your DPS, and you just like, why have I done this just so I can beat that thing faster?
Exactly, it's such a number crunch. So we wanted to do skills that were more kind of like you unlock a skill, you unlock something, you literally unlock something. So it's going to be something like this will change how you could play the game, that kind of thing. And that seems like more interesting progression than just raw numbers. You know what I mean? I think that like Dark Messiah of Might and Magic, if you remember that old game, that's a great, I think, example.
On
like skill unlocks.
Is that as far as I know, that was a big inspiration for Blade and Sorcery, right?
It was, yeah.
And also, Wooly actually made the map from that, if I remember.
Yeah, that's right.
Which was really cool. I loved the detail and the lighting in that map was fantastic. He really put a lot of work into that. It was very nice.
That game was legendary, in my opinion. It was one of my favorites, and it was just pure coincidence that both myself and Cosby felt that way about that game. Well, actually, maybe it's not that crazy coincidence, because that makes sense then why we both kind of hit it off over Blade and Sorcery. But yeah, that game was ahead of its time, in my opinion. I mean, it shows its age now, but back then they were doing things that was crazy.
Oh yeah.
And I just feel like it never got the love it deserves, you know?
No, but I mean, you never know if I don't know if there is one already, but if there's not, there should definitely be some kind of homage or reference to the game, or to Dark Messiah in Blade and Sorcery. I'm not sure if there already is.
There already kind of is. Like, for example, not that Blade and Sorcery is the only game in the world where you kick, but the kick is 100% a reference to Blade and Sorcery, to Dark Messiah, and also the chandelier is literally a direct reference to Dark Messiah.
See, I didn't
and then
know
the bed of spikes, the bed of spikes too. That so there is a couple of little Easter eggs, but I mean, like, they're not so specific that you might immediately realize they're Dark Messiah. But for us, they're Dark Messiah.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
So, if you could add any weapon, it doesn't have to be from realistic medieval history, just any weapon at all, what would you add to the game if you had a choice?
Well, 100% I could tell you, because I've thought about this loads and I've asked Cosby a load for it. It would be a bullwhip, definitely.
Oh wow, yeah.
And that comes from both my Baron avatar little thing with the whip at the start of my logo, and also I just love them. I'm just a big fan of Indiana Jones. So oh man, I would love if we had a whip with rope physics. If you could maybe lasso, like limbs and stuff like that. I don't know.
Wow,
I just love it. I think it would be so hard to do really like elegantly. But man, there is a mod out there.
There is.
You were about to say it to me.
I was gonna say that. Yeah. Who's it by again? Is Mighty Morphine? I think his name is.
I think you're right.
I think he's the one who was the first person who he even did a flail back in U7.
It is Mighty Morphin. I'm looking at it now. Yeah,
Yes.
Mighty Morphin.
So he's very, very good with
Yeah,
the physics.
I left him a comment on that. Yeah, it's obviously it's not perfect because he's trying to mod uphill. Like there is no rope physics in the game. So
yeah,
but for what he's done, I'm enjoying it. I was actually playing it last night, and he actually added in a really good feature, which is if you hold down the trigger, it'll stick to things.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like a cheaty kind of workaround. But I mean, I'm having fun. I'm loving it.
Yeah, it's very cool. I use this flail quite a lot because I'm a big For Honor fan, and I love Conqueror in that with the big flail. So using his flail was fantastic. Really well made.
Yeah, I'm a fan too. I think it was really good.
Yeah, it's very, very good. So this is a question that was asked in the modder Discord for obvious, not in the modder Discord, sorry, in the modder channel for obvious reasons that people want to mod this. Is there any plans to expand the potions in the game? Because right now we obviously only have the health potion. Is there any plans to add more, or maybe add alchemy where you can combine potions? Or
okay, so funny you should say this because I was literally just talking to someone on Reddit like maybe an hour before talking to you. Okay, so here's the thing. There's no plans for it. However, we have been discussing it. Now, so what I mean by that is it's not on the roadmap. We don't have any like concrete idea of how it would how or when we would implement it, but we are curious about it and we think it'd be cool. So we were chatting about how cool would it be if the game had like alchemy and like not just mana and health potions, but also like kind of like liquid potions. Like what if there was like an oil potion and you smash it and it spills oil, and then of course if you set that on fire, the whole thing goes up. Or
that
like
would be cool.
Yeah, like a water potion maybe, or not potion, just a glass of water, and you smash it, and then maybe it conducts electricity or something like that. So basically, just like Dark Messiah, you could kind of like create these like little battlefields, like, battlefield effects. You know what I mean? A bit like Divinity or something like that, or Noida.
It would add like a whole new class to the game in a way.
Totally, yeah. Wouldn't it be cool if there was like an alchemist kind of quote unquote class, where you don't even have weapons, you just stock up on potions and stuff.
Yeah.
But again, we don't really kind of have a solid idea. There's already like the liquid, like you can pour the health potion on the ground and it paints the ground, So that's already like a thing. So that's good. But there would be other considerations like I don't know. Well, I don't know. I mean, it's a pretty big feature. So I guess that's just the hesitation. We just really have to think it all through.
Yeah, I'd say basically what you're saying is there's an idea there, but it's not a priority right now at all. It's just kind of a nice idea at the moment.
Yeah, we think it'd be awesome. I would love to see it, and especially too, then if we could like litter dungeons with it too. So like so you're going to a dungeon, you might find like a flask on a shelf, and it's like, what is it? It's oil. It's like, oh, okay, put it in your belt. And one of the guys was even saying what would be nice too would be if we did do that. If you also had maybe a cross chest holster or something like that, so you could kind of like store little flasks on your chest holster, and then it wouldn't take away from like your weapon holsters.
That's a very good idea, because I think having the flasks at the moment take away a weapon holster. I think that's a lot of the reason people don't take flasks with them.
Yeah, me included. And in fact, that's kind of the same thing with the torch at the moment. It's kind of the same problem we're encountering with the torch. I kind of like, I want to take a torch, but I kind of want to keep my weapon on me.
Yeah, you see with
like a dedicated torch place.
With Wooly's mod, his more slots mod, that's why I use that, because then I can put the torch on my thigh slot, and it's down on your bottom leg, out of your way. And for example, like daggers, he has like ankle ones, so I can have a dagger on my boot, and then I can crouch down and grab it while I'm in stealth.
So that's brilliant, actually.
Really cool mod if you want to have a full loadout for a dungeon.
That's a damn good idea. Like to have, if there was like you can only put big weapons on your back. You can put like medium weapons on your hip, but it'd be cool if there was an extra slot on your leg for putting tiny weapons. Like the dagger.
Just awesome. Like a dagger for when you're crouched, it's easy to access, because obviously you can't really access your hips if you've tried. When you're crouching in game, it's very difficult to grab from your hips. So having one on like your thigh or your leg would be really useful, I think.
You know what? I'm going to pitch that. That is a good idea.
That sounds fantastic.
Yeah,
Wooly,
that would be
I'm
cool.
sorry for invalidating your mod.
Yeah.
He's
Nah, I'm
he's
sure he'd be
just
cool
had
about it.
he's just had one of his mods completely invalidated with the toggle crouch feature being added. So
Yeah, that's right.
I apologize.
No, we're very close with Wooly, so yeah, on the dev team, so he won't mind at all.
Yeah, he's fantastic. He's Wooly kind of came up out of nowhere. I remember seeing some of his physics mods he was working on originally back in U9. Actually, I think I saw him start the big modding, and then he just blew up. He just got very good.
Do you know what? What one I'm enjoying at the moment of his? The I can't remember what the mod's actually called, but it's like a summonable light, almost
Mage
like a will-o'-the-wisp.
Mage light.
Mage light, yeah, right.
Yeah.
Almost like a little kind of will-o'-the-wisp kind of thing. It's really cool.
It's actually a direct spell from Skyrim. I covered it in a recent video, but it's literally the exact same spell from Skyrim.
I think it's like a classic D&D thing, isn't it?
Yeah. Well, it's Skyrim's spell was inspired by a D&D thing. But Mage Light is actually directly the effects. Everything is like exactly how it looks in game. He's actually even trying to take the sound effects of Mage Light now and put it into the game.
Oh,
so
gotcha. That's cool.
it's really cool. Yeah, I love it.
I'm enjoying that spell. That's a really good spell.
That reminds me, I need to get back into modding. I haven't done anything since Holy Crusade, and it's really annoying me at the moment because for some reason, Medieval Mega Pack is conflicting with it, and who is going to pick mine over MMP? No one. Not even me. Not even me.
That is an uphill battle, yeah.
I use MMP more than my own mod, a lot.
Yeah,
That says
MMP is
something.
a giant, yeah.
But we've actually figured out that from the logs, it seems to be actually a problem on MMP's side that's conflicting with quite a few mods at the moment, and Sushin cannot figure out for the life of him what it is. So
Gotcha.
it's pretty rough. But
I was playing that on U10 actually, and that dude is a madman because he's added so much more to it. And I mean, he was already massive in U9, and then U10 he adds a ton more. Like, my God.
I feel for him. I really feel for him because Jesus Christ, when I had to do reveals for 65 items for Holy Crusade, he had to do it for 300 items. It's the slowest, most painful process to add a reveal to each item.
Yeah,
And
he's a legend. What can you say? That's why everyone loves MVP.
So one of the last questions would be, what are your favourite mods of all time? Doesn't have to be current working mods, just mods, even if they're not that impressive now, just when they came out, or just in general. What are your favourite mods?
Let me see. Well, it was, speaking of MMP, obviously MMP.
Oh yeah.
Obviously, Outer Rim. I mean, what Alex does with that, it's literally an expansion pack. I mean,
yeah.
I can't even see it any other way. It's literally like an expansion pack.
There's a lot of people who bought the game for Outer Rim.
Completely understandable, yeah. Like if I was a Star Wars fan, I'd be like, yeah, I'm getting it. Yeah, completely understandable. So those two go without saying. But let me think. Well, I'm enjoying the Bullwhip at the moment. That's did you see that mod Realistic Blood?
Oh, I cannot play without it. It's fucking incredible.
Insane. It has some U10 issues because of the LODs now, and it's like so it kind of like pops in now. But yeah, that is outstanding, and that modder too is like fairly unknown. Like I wasn't familiar with his other mods or anything.
Me neither.
And then I hit the scene. I was like, this is so good. I want this in the base game. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
But it's like, if it wasn't for the performance considerations, and then obviously you got to work out those LOD issues. But I think that mod is so high quality it could be in the base game.
Oh yeah, for such a small file, the amount that it does and the actual detail of the effects is incredible.
Incredible, yeah, unbelievable. And I know that it would definitely be off-putting for some people, but it'd be cool if it was like just in an option and you could just turn it on. You know, if you want it.
I've even I heard that he's actually working on. Now I don't know if this is true. I just heard from a few people. A couple modders have said this, that he's working on. So for weapons, when you slash, he's working on a thing where the blood goes down the weapon as well, like the realistic bleeding. But as well, so you know, if there's too much blood on the weapon, it will actually start to build at the bottom and drip off and hit the floor. And he wants to make that happen, but at the moment, again, it's not been said by him. It's been said by other people who know him. But apparently is causing incredible performance problems, which is
Sure,
understandable. You know, it's a
Totally,
lot of particles, so...
And I'm just looking at him now. His name is XYO Nico. I don't know how
Yeah.
you pronounce it, but this is his only mod. Yeah,
It is, yes.
Who is this dude? It's awesome. I'm very, very impressed with it. Can't wait to see. I'll watch him very eagerly. See what he does next.
Yes, absolutely.
He's great. I was a huge fan of Ebideem's mods back in the day, before he retired. Like Dark Chains, which nowadays maybe isn't as impressive, but what you gotta know is that back in the day, Dark Chains was before Gravity. So like it was just legendary back in the day. And then Bone Holsters was legendary. I mean, that was armor before armor. That was brilliant. Huge fan of all Laneka's mods. I mean, just so many, isn't there? There's literally so many.
I have a question about Dark Chains, actually. Was the effects for Dark Chains an inspiration for the telekinesis effects? Because I feel like they're very similar.
Okay, this is 100% the truth. They were neither of those two the real Gravity and Dark Chains, neither influenced either. Even though I totally agree with you, even the concept of like, you know, the effect around the wrist or the neck or whatever is exactly what was in Dark Chains. They did not influence any of them. And Cosby never played Dark Chains. He wasn't even aware of it. And then when I saw Gravity, I was like, holy shit. I was like, is this Dark Chains implemented? And like, he's like, what's that? So it was an incredible coincidence that the two of them had the same kind of idea. And when Ebideem was doing Dark Chains, Cosby was working on Gravity, but obviously it wasn't released.
See, Dark Chains is actually still being updated, but by a different modder now. Husky is doing it at the moment. Lil Husky, he's currently doing Dark Chains. What is the concept of Dark Chains now? Because back in the day it was before Gravity, so that made sense. But now there is Gravity. So Dark Chains now is kind of like enhanced Gravity, so you can freeze enemies in points in the air like you could with Dark Chains, and you can now like pull people apart, which obviously you can't do with Gravity. You can literally rip people apart. So it's like basically a more brutal, darker Gravity. If you
Cool. Actually, that's another mod. Speaking of Husky, is I'm a fan of the Titan mod. I thought that was a cool mod.
Really well made, yeah.
Yeah, just for a completely different type of play. Play as a giant and just like smashing people with like a big hammer and stuff.
Absolutely, it was very cool.
Yeah. So I mean, there's so many, but that's probably they're the main ones I can think of anyway.
Yeah, I definitely agree with those 100%. I think that one modder that gets very overlooked, and I'm sure you've heard tons about him. You've probably used some of his mods, but Sectix or Aya. His mods get overlooked because visually they're not incredible. He's not a VFX guy, he's not a texturing or anything guy or modeler. He's purely a coder, and he's a very good coder.
Yeah.
Considering he's 16.
But yeah, I only found that recently.
Yeah, and the guy,
the dude is like a million mods. Yeah.
The guy makes incredible mods. I mean, SORCERY is one of the best mods for the game, with the bone breaking, the bleed outs, and everything. And then I don't know where the progress is with it, but he did start a massive project. You probably know of Amnesia.
Yep, I do.
So
actually, I don't know what the status is.
I'm as far as I can see in the Discord right now, because I've got access to like the things that other people can't see. It doesn't look like the progress has gotten too far recently, because he's obviously been working on things like the recent U10 mods, like even working on longer dungeons, things like that. Yeah. But I think there is a plan to eventually expand it again. But I think he wants to wait until the game is slow development, so that there is less stuff to keep updating. Because
that makes perfect sense.
I mean, the size of the project, getting it finished in U10 and then being like, oh, here's U11. Shit.
Yeah, totally makes sense actually.
Yeah.
But you know, one thing about Aya though is I would say probably most people don't realize how many mods he has. That's probably that. So in that sense, he's overlooked. But I'll tell you one thing: SORCERY is probably one of the most known mods, I think.
Oh yeah.
From what I see on social media, I think it's up there. You know, in AI mods, I think it's kind of like the MMP, where MMP is to weapons.
Yeah.
Sectory is kind of like the people who want AI mods. So that's cool. You know, I think he gets a lot of good karma from Sectory.
Absolutely. And something incredible that he implemented in Sectory very recently is experimental AI. And this is really interesting in the way that, so the AI, when you first start it, they're basically brain dead. They don't fight very well. They don't attack back too often. And the more you fight them and the more you kill them, the more they die. They learn how to not die that way the next time, in a way. And they get better. They get better at learning to attack at the right speed to hit you, and get better at moving their sword in a faster position to hit. So if you kill like 300 of them, right? Eventually, they will move their sword faster to block your attack. Eventually, and so on. So essentially, they get more skilled as they go until eventually they're able to fight back way better.
I didn't know that. I played Sectory. I'm pretty sure it was U10. I played, but I didn't notice. I didn't realize that was a feature. That's crazy.
No, it's a optional thing you have to either turn on, or there's a experimental wave option in like the standard arena book.
Cool.
But
the one thing I loved about it when I installed, I'm generally not a fan of AI mods. But that's just a general personal preference.
Yeah.
But the one thing I really enjoyed about that was you can customize it real easy. So that was great. So I kind of like was able to change the things that I generally don't like when health gets changed. I'm not a fan of that.
Yeah.
So like I was able to just change that, and then everything else was awesome. I was able to enjoy the rest of it.
Yeah, I think the most important feature in Sectory for me was 100% the I'm assuming eventually this will be put in base game, but what annoying thing about stealth is the enemies, when you stab them and instantly kill them from behind, they'll still sometimes scream for help or alert people, and it's like, look, I've just stealth killed you and you've just alerted everyone else. So what Aya did is, in Sectory there's an option called enemies no longer scream when killed and no longer scream when decapitated. So when you just stab them one shot to the head, they just die very quietly, and it makes stealth way more immersive that way, which is really nice.
So that is in the base game now. The only thing, just breaking news. Except I think it was added in the patch yesterday. I think if it wasn't in the patch yesterday, it's definitely in the next patch after. Because actually, that's not the only stealth thing we've added. We've added a couple more stealth goodies.
Oh, well, yesterday's update for stealth has made it a million times better with the awareness. The awareness thing. Yeah, so good. Love
brilliant.
It. Absolutely
that was good. Yeah, it's small, isn't it? It's like a small tweak, but it makes a big difference.
And the fix to jumping attacks. Thank you so much, everyone at Warpfrog.
Man, don't even get me started. Because even like months before release, that was bugging me. You know what I mean? And I was kind of like, I feel like there's too many jump attacks, you know. And I was like chatting with the team about it, and you know, they were tweaking it and stuff, but there was like an inherent problem with it. You know, it couldn't just be like easily tweaked out. So it kind of was like dragging on. I just kept feeling like, it feels like there's too many jump attacks. And then, you know, when we launched, it's like, I don't even know what happened, but it felt like there's even more. And then everyone's like, there's too many jump attacks. And I was like, I knew it. So that was like a priority. So I'm glad that's sorted now.
Yeah, like fighting a 5-man wave in arena just felt like watching that same scene from Troy on repeat.
Yeah,
constantly.
Everyone just diving at you like crazy. I know. I mean, that's going to get ironed out, but even more than that, you know, we had the animation overhaul still coming down the line, and I know that's one of those big things that people are dying for. So it's finally getting underway.
That's incredible.
That's going to be huge.
Yeah, I think everyone's excited for that, because like this right now, especially after this small patch, the combat is in a pretty damn good state, and after the overhaul, it's just gonna be even better.
Oh man, totally. Because we're gonna record all new animations. We're gonna animate them ourselves, so no more kind of using store assets, which can be, you know, hit or miss. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that's kind of like that's like phase 1 of the plan anyway, is to record all new, good, more logical, more realistic, not quite HEMA, not like super historical accurate or anything like that. It's still kind of like fantasy sword fighting, but way more interesting and logical attacks. That'll be the first step. The second step, phase 2, which we haven't 100% committed to, but it's like high on the we really want to make this happen, is to do attack pool animations for each weapon. So if an enemy picks up a rapier, he'll have an animation pool of like kind of like fencing animations to fight with. Or if he picks up a sword and shield, well, there'll be like sword and shield animations that he can choose from. So in other words, you'll get less of that kind of jank where it's like, a guy with an axe tries to stab you, like less of that kind of jank, or like a guy with a sword and shield does like a spin attack and like the shield's like glitching into him almost because it's not really suited for that kind of stuff. So that's kind of like, we haven't 100% committed, but it's very, 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 very high, and I'm definitely going to be pushing it.
Oh yeah, absolutely. So. I think anything will be better than those U9 spin attacks where the weapon wouldn't even go past the enemy's head. It would just go through their head and round.
The old jump and spin attack.
Oh, Jesus Christ, the dual wielders. Oh, God.
Except the only bad part was the jump and spin attack was gone, and everyone's like, yay! And then here comes the Achilles lunge, just like,
God.
I mean, that's played in sorcery for you. It's a constant work.
Yeah. But you know what? Right now, where it is right now, I'm loving it.
Brilliant.
Absolutely loving it.
Brilliant.
And as far as I can tell from the rest of the community, everyone else is doing fantastic. Everyone at Warpfrog is doing an incredible job, and I think,
man, let me tell you, the Blade and Sorcery community are crazy. Like they're really a special community, and I know as we're getting bigger, it's getting crazier, and but I still think just something about the Blade and Sorcery community, and it's the weirdest thing because you wouldn't think people would gather around with such positivity and optimism around such a violent game. And yet, here we are. It tends to be such a cool community.
Yeah, I guess it's just part of our human brains to just enjoy murder together.
I don't get it myself.
It's crazy.
Yeah, it's brilliant. I'm just so happy we have the community we have, and I mean now we have a whole influx of Quest players. So that's crazy because we're getting even bigger.
Oh yeah.
And then the sub community of the modding community, I just think we have such a good mod community. Like just so good.
Absolutely, yeah.
They're just so talented.
It's like, one of the most modded games on Nexus, and it's an indie VR game.
Yeah.
That's what's incredible.
How mad is that? Like a VR game, like it's crazy. Like it's like one of the most modded on Nexus. How is it possible?
If I pull up Nexus, I'm pretty convinced it's in the top 10. Where would I find?
It's like 12 or something.
Oh, right. So it is 15th right now. It's 15th.
15th, okay.
But all the other games are pretty much very high-end games, or things like Oblivion and Skyrim, which are never going to get overtaken in a million years. But
I was just gonna say, I'm looking at it now. I feel like we're gonna overtake Dragon Age any day now. Like that's 100% gonna happen.
Absolutely.
And then Mountain Blade, they came after us and they completely overtook us, and it could make sense. That's a great mod game, but it's weird because like they have significantly less mods than us, but they have significantly more downloads. And I think that just comes because their player base is so much bigger.
Well, I can tell you why. It's because Mountain Blade is way more accessible because not everyone can afford VR, and that's just how it is.
100%. 100%. That's the reason. Yeah. But I think we're gonna pass Morrowind. I think that day is gonna come, and I think we'll settle behind Dragon Age. The first Dragon Age. That's what I think.
Yeah. I think
that's where I think Blade Source is gonna hit.
Yeah, I think Monster Hunter will drop off because because Monster Hunter World is kind of had its day. Rise is pretty much done now. I mean, they're doing an expansion for Rise.
Yeah.
It's coming to PC at the beginning of next year, actually. So, I think Monster Hunter World's pretty much seen its day. There'll obviously be always people who go back for it, but there's not many mods being made for it anymore, I don't think. Like, if you look at... I mean, there was 6 mods today, but they're not incredible mods, and they're not You know?
And the same for Morrowind. I mean, I'm sure there's still people modding it, but not anywhere the kind of activity.
Oh, absolutely no.
And also, you know what's going to be funny is pretty soon Nomad will be out there, and so we'll see if how funny would that be if we had Blade and Sorcery and Nomad in like the top 20.
How funny would it be if Nomad overtook Blade and Sorcery?
Yeah, that would be fun. That would be so impressive actually, because I mean, what is it, 24 million downloads right now? So that would be wild if Nomad could overtake Blade and Sorcery. Well, hope so. That'd be cool. Two vibrant modern communities.
So, one last question before we finish up. Very, very small one that actually just got said in my Discord. Are you subscribed?
I actually don't know. I genuinely don't. I don't think so, because I generally don't subscribe to anything.
Well, that's fair enough.
It's just a case because I don't really watch a whole lot of YouTube videos for leisure, because it's almost like it's my job now. You know what I mean? So like if ever I'm on YouTube, it's because I have to do something. Or although I do check in on kind of like small YouTubers. This is kind of like a little secret thing of mine. Like I sometimes like to like just look up Blade and Sorcery, find small YouTubers and leave them a comment. And some of them are like, "What the hell? Like, you know, are you the guy who's part of like the Blade and Sorcery team?" And I do it just because I think it's kind of cool that like if you're a small YouTuber, I just think it's cool that someone's kind of watching your video. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And you know exactly, because you were a small YouTuber too, and me too. I know what that feels like. So I just sometimes kind of like to go to the small channels and like leave them a little message of encouragement.
Absolutely. I mean, you know, Pope Duma, who just got content creator, and I'm sure you've seen XHaze48, who makes those incredible cinematic videos. Yeah. When I had 5 subscribers, Hayes commented on one of my videos and said, "That is," he said he really likes the work I'm doing, and he said, "Just subscribe, love your work, let's do a video together." And that blew my mind, because this guy had like 10,000 subs. He was blowing me out of proportion, like it's ridiculous. So it really gives you a bit of motivation to get going, you know.
100%, man, 100%.
Sorry, go on.
No, I was just going to say 100%, and I was going to say, for the same reason, you know, be careful who you insult, because you just never know. Like the VR community is so small. So like you have 1,000 subs a day. I don't know, in 3 months, 6 months, you could have 10,000 subs. Do you know what I mean? In a year, you could have 500,000 subs. I just don't know. Like no one knows. And so yeah, like this is it. Like you should just try and be as friendly and supportive of everyone as you can, because man, you just never know who's going to be the next big blow up.
Exactly. I think I mean, I understand the whole not subscribing thing as well, because I do the same thing. As you spend so much time on YouTube recommends as well, and just being a YouTuber, you kind of get sick of like watching YouTube because you do it so much. And then when YouTube recommends things to you so much, you actually, I mean, I used to watch YouTubers for like 3 years and be like, "Oh, I'm not even subscribed to these guys." I've just been watching them.
That is literally it. And I'm the same with Twitter. I'm the same with like on all social medias. Like even on Twitter, I had subscribed to like a lot of people that I liked, but then it's kind of like my Twitter account's getting lit up with, you know, kind of like YouTuber stuff that kind of like doesn't really maybe pertain or interest me. So I kind of, that's why I have kind of so few people on Twitter that I follow, is because I kind of don't want to see all that news. Like if I want to see it, I'll go find it. You know what I mean? Like
I get that.
So anyway, that's kind of it. The same thing is true with Discords, by the way. Everyone always asks me to join their private Discord, and it's like I appreciate it so much that you would ask me, but the trouble about it is everyone asks me, and then I have so many pings on Discords, and it's like it's hard enough to even keep up with what I have on the Blade and Sorcery and Warpfrog Discords, let alone like a million. And then it's like sometimes people will give me a special role when I join, and it's like, oh, now I feel twice as bad, because now if I leave, it's gonna be, you know. So that's kind of why I try to keep that separate, you know.
Yeah, I 100% agree with that. Like, I also, I mean, I need to start preaching, or like practice what I preach with that kind of stuff with Discords, because I am in like 20 odd Discords, and I use about 3 of them. I use the Blade and Sorcery, I use Amnesia, I use mine, and I occasionally hop into, I don't know if you heard of the game that came out recently, Legendary Tales. I occasionally pop into that.
I'm in that Discord too, yeah.
Oh yeah, Legendary Tales is actually not bad. It's not a bad game. They're working hard on it.
I sent them a message of support. I was really excited, like when they were doing the launch, but I just haven't had a chance to play it.
No, I'll
get around to it.
For if you want a co-op game to play with friends, then it's fantastic. But as it goes right now, it's so early in development that if you're looking to just get any VR game, I would definitely recommend a few more before Legendary Tales for the same price.
Gotcha. Is it early access? I did not realize that.
It is. It's quite a lot early access. They're still completely revamping all the stats system and everything. So yeah,
gotcha.
Got a lot to do on that.
I did not actually realize that part, but that's cool. Yeah, I mean they're about to begin their journey, I guess.
Yeah,
we're still in early access. We're still going.
I would say they're about in U6 stage of their development right now.
Gotcha. That's pretty good, actually. That's pretty. U6 is pretty good.
Yeah, I mean they waited a lot longer to release their early access than Blade and Sorcery. I think they waited to develop it a lot further, but there's still a lot of issues. Like two-handed sword handling feels pretty terrible. One-handed feels great, but two-handed doesn't feel good at all. Gotcha.
I still remember when, like, kicking was a feature added in Blade and Sorcery. It was like, whoa, we can kick now. But I guess the one thing though about the Blade and Sorcery early access is it's not like it's stuck in development hell, because technically the original vision of the game was basically U7. That was it. That was the plan. And maybe we would have added like a couple more maps if things hadn't changed, and then it would have been like, boom, there you go, done. No graphics changes, no anything. We would have just thrown in the spells that were missing, maybe another map or two, and it was like, bam, there it is. It's a little wave sandbox game. But so much changed based on the community. Like, climbing wasn't a plan. That wasn't part of the game. That was
climbing is incredible as well.
Yeah, that was literally added in because fans were like, "This would be awesome. Could you do this?" Dismemberment, that was not a part of the game. That was added in because fans. And then obviously the biggest thing is dungeons. I mean, it's literally like the scope of a second game. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That was not on any original roadmap. So, so technically we could have been finished Blade and Sorcery like 2 years ago, if we hadn't broadened the scope to include dungeons. So it's a little bit weird, And I think new players who might come along and be like, "What the hell? This game's in early access like almost 3 years." It's like, yes, it is true, but like if you don't know the whole story, then you're kind of getting a skewed image of it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I 100% understand that. I think funny interesting thing. The first time I ever saw Blade and Sorcery, first time I ever even heard about it was when PewDiePie did his video on it.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah, because I had never even considered VR. This was years ago, and I was I just watched him do this stupid thing, running around screaming about knees and slicing them up, and I was like,
yeah,
that looks like a bit of fun. And then he did a one with a bunch of like very low-end mods when the game first started getting modded, and I was like, okay, never mind, let's go move on. And then I ended up watching some Pavlov stuff from these YouTubers, and I was like, I'll get VR and try Pavlov.
Cool.
And then when I was going through games, I was like, oh, Blade and Sorcery's on there, that's not too expensive, maybe I'll pick that up. And ever since then, I've not played any other VR game.
Do you know what's funny about that PewDiePie video? And this is weird we're talking about, because I was just thinking about this the other day. I was so happy for my friend Max from Discord. He's one of our oldest moderators there. He had made the Minecraft mod. I think it was called Mind and Sorcery or something like that.
Yeah.
And PewDiePie played it on his video. And I know Max was like a huge fan of PewDiePie, when he was younger, growing up. PewDiePie was like a big YouTuber. I was so happy for him. Like that, how cool would that be? Have such a huge YouTuber who you loved anyway, there he is playing your mod, and like now
Yeah.
hundreds of millions of people just see it. It's like, that's so cool. I was like really chuffed for him.
It's really, really cool. I mean, just in general, I mean, it must have been amazing for Cosby to just see the biggest person on the platform playing his game without any promotion, paid promotion or anything. It's just there, and he's just playing his game. That is the best promotion you can ever get.
True.
Really, it's true. Just because it's someone genuinely, one of the biggest people in the world, genuinely enjoying your game and having fun and showing his audience how fun it is without any bias. So I'm
so happy, because it's like we didn't market like normal marketing people. Like we didn't we didn't have like a marketing budget, like most companies would have or anything like that. So like any kind of promotion that Blade and Sorcery had was just grassroots. It was just like people playing the game and being like, hey, this is cool, check this out. And for whatever way it got to him,
Yeah,
and he's playing.
And the funny thing is, I'm pretty sure he recommended it to Jacksepticeye, because he made a video on it about 4 months later.
Did he? I actually have no idea.
Yes, he did. I don't know when he did this, but he definitely did.
Oh, I gotta check it out. It'd be old news now, but I still gotta check it out.
I can't remember when he did it. Here, yeah, Jacksepticeye Blade and Sorcery. He played it. He's played it twice.
Get out of here.
He played the Outer Rim mod back in January 2020, and a week before that, he just went and played the base game of Blade and Sorcery back in U7.
Cool.
I
wonder what they would think of it now with dungeons and all.
Oh, I think PewDiePie wouldn't really play it on video, because when he plays games, he doesn't take it seriously, but Jack would fucking smash that. He'd love it.
Cool, yeah, that's cool. Well, maybe they will. Maybe, because I bet you when we hit 1.0, I bet you we'll have a big surge of
absolutely
kind of YouTuber interest. So
yeah, I think there's definitely, I would definitely say, I mean, I know Jack, he started with indie games. That's how he grew.
Yeah,
he was an indie game player, so I think he's definitely keeping a close eye on it, because he also was one of the first people to start doing Oculus videos when he had the original, just the Oculus. He did sat down VR horror games when they were really basic back in the day, so yeah.
That's brilliant, yeah. Well, there you go, anyway. It's so funny you said it'd be probably like a 10-minute Q&A. I told you that was not going to happen.
Yeah, anyway, I just want to, thank you for doing this. This is fantastic. I really appreciate it.
No worries. My pleasure.
I think you were absolutely right about the time.
Yeah. I knew it would be.
I have got a long editing session ahead of me, but yeah, I think that's all we need. I think that was fantastic. Thank you so much for that, man. Really appreciate that, and I'm sure everyone else who's been listening really appreciates you coming down and giving us some info and just letting us know how you feel about everything.
Yeah, I'd say you could even get away with it. I mean, it'd be a long ass video, I guess, but you could probably get away with posting the raw. I mean, I don't think there was anything that was bad in it.
No, I think
it was a pretty natural conversation.
Yeah, I think what I'll do is I'll listen back through it, probably just take out, I think there was a couple 5-second little silences, or maybe some things that aren't really necessary, like little deviations that I could take out, but I think honestly it's still going to be about an hour long.
Jesus.
Yeah, so maybe I'll split it into two. We'll see.
The multi-part series.
Yeah, well, I don't know, I just don't want to, because I uploaded a half-an-hour video yesterday, and Jesus Christ, it took, 5 hours to upload? I don't want to have a 10-hour upload. I can't do that. Yeah. So,
right.
Straight after this, I'm hopping straight back into VR, because I recorded 20 minutes of VR footage to put in the background of this beforehand, thinking, 20 minutes will be alright. Absolutely not. So, I'm going to have to charge my headset and get going.
I knew this would happen, because like I was saying, I did that other interview the other day, and it was about 4 questions, and the whole thing ran about an hour.
Jesus.
So but I mean, at the same time, I think that's you do want it to feel this way, I think, because because if it was the case, if someone was just like, what weapons do you like? Short sword. What do you think of development so far? It's great.
Yeah.
Like no one really wants that.
Well, yeah, so. It gives the impression that I haven't put effort in and you don't care, and it's like that's not the case. You don't want that. So yeah, I agree with you.
This was much more like just a friendly conversation, which is brilliant.
Yeah, it's fantastic, and it's great to finally talk to you, man. I really, I mean, I really appreciate the fact that you gave me content creator role early as well, and I think actually at the stage I am now, I probably could have got it through the base rules anyway now.
Yeah, exactly.
I think just getting the role helped my channel get some recognition, and that really.
Okay, brilliant. Yeah. Well, I saw ages ago that you were grinding. And I was like, oh, good for him. That's really cool. But then the time you messaged me and I added you, I was like, oh shit, I hadn't realized how much you were grinding. Like, you were really working hard. And so, like, it's at the end of the day, it's like, who gives a fuck? Like, it's just like, if it's not a big deal, the rules, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I felt confident you were going to keep at it and exactly look where you are now. I mean, you did exactly that.
Yeah, and I've moved away from just no commentary gameplay as well now. I've gone into like trying to make fully structured videos. Ever since then, I've just been soaring. I mean, I've got 124 videos. I had 90 when it was at, 300 subs, so yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah.
I'm obviously I'm monetized now as well. I just got monetized yesterday.
Ah, cool.
Officially, so that's fantastic.
Nice.
And yeah, I'm averaging around close to 10,000 views a day at the moment. It's crazy.
Brilliant.
Crazy stuff.
And you probably still have your biggest one to come too. Like most YouTubers have that one just crazy hit video.
Oh, absolutely.
Tens of thousands of views on it. And that leads to a big influx. So I'm sure you'll have that too.
Oh yeah, I mean, I'm not sure if you ever heard of there's this YouTuber A Cookie God. He used to do he did little Minecraft things for a while, and he got to 15,000 subs, which is still pretty high. But he did a video called "I Survived 100 Days in a One Block World" or something, and he got within like a week or two 15 million views on the video, and he went up in 2 weeks 300,000 subscribers.
There you go.
So
that happens a lot. That's pretty typical. Yeah.
Within 4 months, he hit 1.5 million, and he became the biggest growing channel on YouTube for a time.
Brilliant.
It's insane. So there is always a chance of just explosion, but it's hitting that niche at the right time, and it's just chance.
Yeah. That's it.
We'll see.
But one thing I will tell you, you'll see once you pass that 1,000 mark, you're going to see a steady flow of people now. It's unbelievable how it works, but it does work that way. So that's cool. I'm excited for you.
Yeah, well, now that I'm a YouTube partner as well, I'm sure I'll be popping up in recommended a little more. YouTube because I'm now got ads and stuff. YouTube want to get those ads seen with their partners more than people aren't, so it makes sense for the algorithm.
I mean, back in the oldest days, like, it was so crazy. Like, I would do Blade and Sorcery videos, and because I was such a small YouTuber, if I typed if I typed the name of my video into YouTube search and hit search, other YouTubers would come up first.
Wow.
Some of them just talking about my video, like some of them like showing my video in like their video. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
You had to like scroll down to find the official source of information, which was my video. Way buried because I was such a small YouTuber. So. Yeah,
YouTube algorithm is far better now. Like if it's, for example, I'm on an incognito tab right now, and if I just search Blade and Sorcery in the search bar, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 videos down, my video I posted 3 hours ago is on there.
Cool.
Just for Blade and Sorcery. Cool. My video is actually above a Josh Dub video.
There you go.
And that just shows how the algorithm really starts to favor like consistency now.
Yeah.
Rather than music, which is great.
Man. Brilliant.
Anyway, I will not keep you any longer.
Yeah, no worries.
Because I have let this go on for quite a long time.
No worries. It was fun. It was great fun. Congrats again on your channel. Best of luck to you.
Thanks so much.
I'll talk to you on the Discord.
Absolutely. You have a good night, man.
All right, mate. See ya. Bye-bye.
See you later, man.